guys, I'm Taylor Dayne, and this is Long Island Tea.
Okay, Sharon, this is like bucket list for
Dream
me.
come true.
When I moved to Long Island, you could tell me I was going to be doing a lot of things, but interviewing Taylor Dayne was not one of them. I'm so excited.
So excited.
Taylor Dayne, just like, I'm dead. I'm dead right now. I can't even. I've been, obviously, we're huge fans, and I've been like huge fans since high school. I can sing all of your songs by heart. I've actually seen you perform live. You blew me away.
Really? Okay, so I need to know where.
Okay,
Like,
you'll not remember this probably because this was back when
no,
I was in college, but long.
guaranteed I won't.
Okay, exactly. You're constantly doing this every night. But let me tell you the story. So I was in Vegas, and it was my father-in-law's like national optometry conference or something, and it was you and Hall and Oates. And
Yes, I remember that
do
show.
you remember? Because here's the deal.
I fell in love that night. I was with a man. I went to. Yes, I do remember the show. It was It was some sort of private thing, though.
It
I
was.
thought.
It was a private
Yeah,
convention. But do you
yeah.
remember? It was funny because you came out and you were just like amazing, tearing up the show. And then you made kind of like a comment like, you better enjoy it because this is it for the night. Because Hall and Oates didn't end up coming out. There was I'm doing air quotes if you're listening. One of them had a reaction to a prescribed medicine. We're like, okay, that was a very specific reason. But you had to cover for all of them. And I will tell you,
I don't remember
everybody
that.
was like
Wow.
sweating it on the dance floor.
That's awesome.
You had that whole room. And
Pumped.
that's not easy. I think the private events are harder.
Yeah.
Because everybody was on
Well,
their feet.
your audience could. It's a hit and miss. It's your corp. It's a corp show we call them, and it could go either way. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'll never forget it. You rocked it. And nobody was missing Hall and Oates. You just were so amazing. It was awesome. And so those of you that don't know, like, I'm sure our listeners know, I mean, your songs, like the soundtrack of my, like, growing up, of course, Tell It to My Heart was your breakout, right? #1 crazy hit.
Sure.
But, like, Love Will Lead You Back, I think might have been my
Yes.
favorite. I mean, because, when you're so powerful,
Yes.
you're like feeling that song.
Ugh.
What about Sharon? What about some of yours?
I was going to say Love
Love
Will
Will
Lead
Lead
You
You
Back.
Back is
I
your
remember
favorite?
going to sleep at night listening to that song.
Oh,
Really?
Yes.
Really?
But so many, like, also I love Don't Rush Me.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that song.
Yeah.
It's just you've got such great music. And then, like, Every Little Beat of My Heart. I mean, so many classics. And look at you, still performing. What an incredible, sustained career over decades. What do you think your secret is?
I see. It's funny. Last night I was at. I live in Santa Barbara, and last night I was at. What is the secret? The secret is that you don't stop, won't stop. Is one weird cliche, but also because you really have something to say.
Mhm.
I have so many wish list goals and things I want to say, and passion for me is just as high as when I was, except it's not as survivalist. Now I love, enjoy, thrive in a environment where we're collaborating. Whereas before, like, if I don't get out of this house, I'm going to kill myself. I mean,
Yeah.
I was 18 too.
Yeah.
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 Those things happen when you're a very young age, but all those years leading up to it is why success was so paramount. And then why you basically, as a kid, when you're young like that, it's very difficult to enjoy it. The 20s are probably our hardest navigational times. And think about it, I got my dream come true. But then you're like, oh, geez, now what do you do with it?
Yeah.
How do I feel? What are whole feelings? Oh, I mean, how do you react? How does your mental health? How do you continue this? You're not coached on how to deal with fame. You're coached on how to deal with being a great basketball player. And there's certain things. But I was an athlete, and now the sustainability is I treat myself like an athlete. I train like an athlete. I'm disciplined like that when it comes to, I have the best creative directors. I have the, my coaches, my best creative directors, my best MDs, people that will help me now challenge myself and make my beauty, my those greatest hits are one part of it. And I look at a career now. I mean, it's moved in so many genres. I've been in TV, film, theater, and that's what keeps me sustained and continuing to challenge and go for it.
Yeah, well, over the years, and even really recently, I've heard a lot of your interviews. I heard you on Sirius talking to Lisa Loeb. I mean, again, I just, we follow you and love what you do. And I think
Thank you.
listening to you over the years, the way you started and the way you've, are still today performing, I think you're right. It's really the grind. You work so, so hard, and you always have since day one. You talked about, being in New York City and just going to the clubs. It's not like today where you just put a song on TikTok or YouTube. You've been working hard since day one, and having been in your
It's a different platform. Now they're inundated. So in order for you to find your way through the market, like we never had direct contact with fans. Like you just don't, without getting in your car, in your van, in your bus, and going to a venue. Play
right,
it live.
the good old days. And that's why I think you're so
There's
good.
no record label. You could send a million tapes that was like, oh, geez, this tape is just better than. You had to form relationships, be out there, and right time, right place. And, that's how it worked for me. But we had already recorded. I had produced, recorded, Tell It to My Heart, Prove Your Love. We already financed that. These were the same writers, Don't Rush Me. I had been the background singer on. So it's kind of, we were really part of our process.
Well, and for those that love Taylor and want to see her, again, still performing. She's going to be at the Paramount, which is it's one of the best theaters in the country. It's always named one of the top music venues, on February 20th, right here in Huntington. So we're very, very excited for your show. And
I'm just going to give you a little bit of history
Let's
so
do
you
it.
understand.
Mhm.
Okay. So Hall & Oates, their manager, Brian Doyle, who opened Paramount in Huntington.
Oh, wow.
He lived out east. So I've known that venue when it used to be like the Huntington Performing Arts Center.
Yeah.
And I used to live in Lloyd Harbor up there.
Wow.
That's awesome. And you get
How funny is that?
you're playing.
So I saw Brian
Yeah.
recently, and he's like, he's done a phenomenal job taking that PAC Center, and they turned it into Paramount. It's a premier venue, and I think now Live Nation has it. But yeah,
Yeah,
Brian.
that was recent. But you're going to be playing back on your home turf. Are you excited?
Oh, I love that venue.
Yeah.
And then I'm getting those Randy calls. Those randoms. Hey, we want to get to that. Like, dude, I haven't seen you in like 20 freaking years. Like, I love you, but
Yeah.
like
Never
I
else.
got.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what's amazing is that our hot teas are going to be entering to win 2 tickets to your performance. We're so
Amazing.
excited. They are going to be giving 2 tickets away to your show, and everyone can learn more about this on Instagram at Long Island Tea Podcast.
Love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so we're excited to give away the tickets and to make people, make people aware that you're going to be here, because it's hard to cut through the noise these days,
Yeah.
right? Let people know what's going on. So
Yeah,
we're
of
excited.
course, there's so much. I know.
But Taylor, I want to talk about something kind of serious, and it's very, like, it's hitting me with my age right now too. So you said you still have a lot to say, and you went through a really serious health crisis in
Yeah.
I think 2021. And it's so funny. I was talking to my husband about it this morning, because I was like, I get to talk to Taylor Dayne, and I'm so excited because, you were diagnosed with colon cancer, and it's one of the things I'm going to tell you, and I need to do it. I have not gotten my colonoscopy yet, and it's one of those things I keep putting off, and I'm kind of scared to get it done. I was just talking about it, and so I'm really, and then you went through it, and you were 10 inches of your colon, right, was
At
taken out.
least. Back doctor didn't tell me. At least.
And then, but then,
Listen, that's not where you have to go. Right now, what you have to do is get out of your mindset that I'm putting something off. Like, we are our own, like there's generals, there's soldiers, there's people that we put in line that, when we're working through a team, and then we're working to conquer something. One of them is our fears, right? We're trying to conquer a big fear and a stigma that's attached to going in, and not knowing is better than knowing, and all
Right.
these other. But let me tell you something. If you're a mom, if you're in a family and you're this, like, at a certain point, I went at 52, 53.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had put it off, and then it was just like no longer, one doctor said, you just got to do it. And then I went, and they were like, we're removing your colon, and everything went just like freaking. And I was like, what? No. Pump the brakes, slow down. What does that even mean? What does that mean? Oh, you have 75 polyps. I'm like, 75. And I was waking up from anesthesia. So no doctor is your lifeline. No doctor is going to tell you exactly what you want to hear. So it's then your job to pick it apart and figure it out. And I was 75 polyps, not 75,
Oh.
as he told me when I'm coming out of anesthesia. And I said, let's do DNA testing. Let's make sure that I'm prone. And you start asking questions. And that's the first sign that you are still alive, relevant, intelligent, and will start taking care of yourself. You become your own best advocate. And then you have a support system around you that will help you if you do get sick like that. What happened with me was very simple. I chose not to cut out my entire colon based on one person's, reaction to how many polyps I had. And I've spent the last 6 years or 5 years after that going every 6 months and making sure we check the polyps. That's what you do. You biopsy them. You make sure if they are cancerous. This wasn't a breast cancer analysis saying, well, you have it in your family. Like, everybody has to make decisions based on their own individual health, experience, and also backgrounds. That's what you have to start learning. And I would say to you, the thing that saved my life was early detection. There's no if, ands, or buts. So the more you put off something like that, just the more it's not it's not a boogeyman. It's like I go every 6 months. It's like clockwork, just to make sure. And this time I went and I had no polyps.
Wow, that's
I mean, it's so weird
Right.
how the
So
universe
in other words,
happens.
I'm doing what I can do.
Right. Yeah. But I think, like, I honestly feel like the universe has you talking to me right now, because I was just saying, like it's like the universe is sending you to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you
Fear. It's a fear.
Yeah.
And it's a fear that we're very common with. If we don't look at something, it doesn't exist. But that's not the way life is it?
It's not, but
And
it's
I
wonderful.
didn't feel a thing.
Yeah. It's wonderful to have somebody
That's
like you
wild.
as a spokesperson, though, for something so important for women, and people, all people, really, of our
Didn't
age.
you think colon cancer was far more male? I thought it was I didn't even think colon, like,
Right.
like colon guard, get your colon. And don't waste your time doing those virtual things. Don't do any of that.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Because they can't go in and cut immediately, and you want that thing biopsied. So all you're doing is spending the money to get, like, the colon guard, like the visual, the virtual, and all that, and then they're like, now you got to go for a colonoscopy. Not
Okay,
worth
good.
it.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
I really do feel like you were saying it's a wonderful to have a real spokesperson, somebody that you've known, you feel like you've known your whole life,
Yeah.
That's been through it, and you really and for you, you're cancer free now, right? And
At the moment,
wonderful,
yes, I am.
wonderful, congratulations. But you went through you were in the hospital for like a month from an infection,
Well,
right?
there's that, and that is because when the surgery was taking place, there was a lot of stresses on my particular doctor and things, and I don't really go into it, but
Okay.
they obviously hit an artery, something that was not part of my program, and made me have a hematoma. I created a hematoma. All the fluid had to go somewhere, so that's what got me sick. I got an infection.
It
When you open
happens.
yourself up,
Yeah, it happens.
shit's gonna happen.
But you know what? It's awesome. Like, you look amazing today, and like you said, you're disciplined. You treat yourself. You're very health conscious, and you have what I've heard you say. I don't know. You can tell me, but like a new lease on life.
Completely.
Wonderful.
that
We're
is
so happy to
wonderful.
be talking to you today.
Yeah. Let's change the subject
Yeah.
a little bit. Recently, some of your merchandise was appraised on Pawn Stars. What
Yes,
was
we saw
that
that.
experience like?
You try doing an auction, and then when you get a call from Rick, and he's like, "You want to come on Pawn Stars and like see if I like anything. I'm like, what does that even mean? He goes, I'm gonna get a room for us at the Venetian. You come on in there. I want to see some of those items. I'm starting a new season, and I was like, hell yeah,
Yeah,
I love you.
definitely.
I mean, and then you meet this guy who's so brilliant. Like, don't like I know he looks like he was hanging out with Paul and Mon. That's all that. But think about his knowledge. Think about the knowledge he has on pieces. And then he low blowed me, and I go, Rick, get a life. It's not happening. But I said, but you are so into this American. I had that Star Spangled Banner American flag bustier, and I go, I'm not sure what the freak you're gonna do with this, but I'm sure you'll find a happy home for it. And there you go.
Aw.
But you ain't gonna tell it to my heart skirt for freaking $2,500.
That's awesome.
That is
Yeah.
so awesome.
What a fun
New York
experience.
Police came out. I'm like, suck it,
I
get
was
out
just
of
gonna
here.
say, does he not know you were a New Yorker? You were like, please don't try to lowball me.
Now when I speak like this, they clearly know. And he was like, okay. I
That's
don't,
so
don't
fun.
know no low blows.
I love that though. That was so fun that you did that. I mean, where you don't expect to see Taylor Dayne at Pawn Stars.
Well, I have an auction coming up. It's like you have so much stuff after a while, touring things and items, and some of that particular auction that we did, that was probably that's the start. I have another one coming up, and some of those items are offered, but that's memorabilia. That's like pieces of jewels to me.
Oh, that's so awesome. When is your next auction? How do people find it?
It'll come up on my website very shortly.
Okay.
We're probably in the midst. That's why we did the Rick
Little
show.
teaser. I
it'll
love it.
start, and some people can get. It's from the last 5 years. A lot of the material, a lot of the costumes are from the Love Me tour that I
Oh,
did.
cool. That's so
over
cool.
Whatever little bit of COVID we got out there, and then during the final, late 22, 23, 24, and 25. And now I
so
have
fun.
all new costumes, whole new show, and
We can't wait to see
I
it.
know. I'm very excited. Okay, you know where else I saw you?
Paramount.
At
Exactly.
the Paramount on February 20th. You know where else I saw you recently, Taylor? And all of our listeners will know, like, I'm a huge Bachelor
Huge.
franchise person. And I especially love the Golden Bachelor franchise part and Golden Bachelorette. It's so cute. And then I'm like, oh my God, Taylor Dayne is doing their high school reunion or their high school prom.
I love it.
When they asked me to do that, and Joan, obviously was on the other, the last season, and I was like, oh my God, this I've watched this, so like we're consumed with the Golden Bachelorette, like we were consumed, and I was like, absolutely,
was
be
so
the
cute.
prom.
That is so
Oh, it was
awesome.
so perfect. And I loved Joan. But then all the guys are like flexing. They were like, oh, I dated Taylor Dayne. I'm like, what?
Dude, I was like, I'm in makeup and hair. I don't even know who you are. And he goes, we met off a Hinge, and you came and met me on the boat. Did he not say that? Like,
Yes. I love that.
I
they're
don't know
coming
what
up to
they
you. And
edited,
you're like,
and I
oh.
was like, dude, it's probably true. But you know me, I was coming in and out of town. I was just checking the Hinge, see who's near.
available.
I was on a boat. But this guy says this on national TV,
Oh my
and he's on
gosh.
a date with another woman.
Yeah, you're like, please.
I hope she didn't pick him.
Yeah, please. She
But
did
I mean,
not.
God bless,
Yeah,
God
what a
bless.
dumb move to tell her. And then he told her. Like, does she
He
think that
did.
that's a flex? I mean, you wish. First of all, you wish. So, but here's what I was thinking, Taylor, is you're still single though, right?
No, I am dating somebody for the last 2 years.
Oh, I was like, you should be our next Golden Bachelorette.
And I mean, I don't have a ring, but I mean, we do a lot of good, we're having a lot of fun.
Oh,
Oh,
good for
that's
you. Well, it's
great.
almost Valentine's Day, so we'll keep our fingers crossed. You never know, right? No, but I just thought you were so awesome on that show, and I was dying when those guys were trying to flex like they dated you, and
That
you were
is
like,
so
I
funny.
don't
was
know you.
dying. But dude, he's coming through the curtain to talk to me, and I'm like,
During hair and makeup. Like, that's so crazy.
and it's been like, this is so no.
Cringe.
Yeah.
Cringe.
Oh, man.
Oh my God, you must get it out of the woodwork. I'm sure it happens constantly. You're like, just please.
Back away.
I know.
We're women, and it's different. When a man, man hitting on a woman, it's so different than when a woman is sitting there and really wants somebody to, hit on her.
You're right.
Yeah.
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 Well, you're a beautiful woman. I'm sure that
All
happens
our
to you all the time.
girlfriends are like, oh no, he's mine. I saw him first. I'm
Ah.
like, oh God, get
You're
over
like,
yourself.
Yeah, good luck.
Okay, so you grew up on Long Island, which I'm a born and raised Long Islander, and we know Kristen's a transplant. But your
right.
fans love you not just for your voice, but also your Long Island roots. How has your upbringing in Long Island influenced your music?
Well, I was, I'm a New York girl. I say that, I spent majority of my childhood in Long Island. I was born in New York City,
Yeah.
then for the first 4 years in the Bronx, and then Long Island, because for my parents, think about it, it was finally getting a yard,
Yeah.
I
not
know.
Queens, not
Right.
Bronx. They got a yard, and it was still an apartment building.
Aw.
We had a little square, and to me, the first thing I could think about what was so different about that and what I loved about it was that I could have a guinea pig, I could have nature, I could see it. I saw turtles in the back, like in the back by the dump, or wildcats, and what Long Island meant to me was that we were so close to the city that I really could see what was going on. The music was ever present in our childhood. WABC music, the radio stations, and I knew it wasn't like we were cut off in this other part of the world. So we were really close to the culture and the arts and what was going on in the city. And my parents were really avid theater goers, and so I was there a lot.
Yeah, it's the best thing about, one of the best things about Long Island is our proximity to New York City and being able to go and experience it, but then come home and have a little bit of, space around us.
Backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
back, yeah.
Greenery.
Exactly.
That was really the plan. It was an hour and 50. It was an hour, and you could take the train right in the Long
Yeah.
Island Railroad.
The
Like, that was
Ronkonkoma.
my parents.
Next
Aw,
stop.
that's amazing.
Next stop. Do you ever hear the Ronkonkoma? Remember that?
Unconkama, Baldwin, Merrick,
Yes.
Seaport,
She's naming them all.
Valley Stream, and that's the Golden Boys were. I could just think of every Rockville Center, Joan Jett, like, and so many artists were coming and rehearsing there, and that was what I saw as a kid. I was like, oh man, Joan Jett's in that rehearsal studio, or Billy Joel's over there, like it,
So
and
many,
then I learned.
Yeah.
I grew up on the South Shore. Then I was like, the North Shore.
Such a difference.
North Shore
I'm a
was like,
South Shore girl.
the money.
Yeah.
And more than that, that was like, you made it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you made it for sure.
Yeah.
So
I
Taylor,
moved
if you
to the
don't mind,
North Shore.
well, do you come back? Do you ever come back off other than performing? Do you come?
Girl, how do you get away from the Hamptons? It's Long Island.
Yeah.
Of course I came back. I came back for so many years, and I raised, when my kids were born, I said, of course, I have my family, friends.
Aw.
My brother still lives in Long Island. My other brother lives in New York City. It's like, of course, like
Aw.
Long Island, no, my girlfriend Celeste, God help us all. It's always the Hamptons. So in the summer, yeah, I've been, of course.
All right, of course. Where else would you be on Long Island? You're so right. So we'll see you at your show, but also next time you come, we should hang out. We're gonna be those people like,
love that.
remember Taylor?
Right?
Well,
We're going to
you
come
never
behind the
know
curtain
after
and be like,
the
remember
show.
us?
You never know after the show. Huntington is a great spot.
It is.
Right.
It
It's a great
is.
town. When I lived in Huntington, I lived in Lloyd Harbor. I lived in Huntington because to me it was one of the better spots on Long Island, heading to the Hamptons, if you will.
I love it. Okay, so we're just going to play a real quick game with you, if you don't mind, about Long
Sure.
Island. Just a couple of questions. So this game we call, it's how you doing or forget about it. Okay, so we're going to ask you a couple of things, and if you like it, you're like, how you doing? And if you don't like it, you say,
Forget about it.
Okay.
okay. So Long Island bagels.
Oh, how you going?
Yeah.
Long Island Expressway.
I just knew you. How you going, Goldberg?
Best bagels.
Best.
Okay.
What?
I said that was the best. Long Island Expressway.
Forget about it.
I deal with the 405. I can't forget about it.
Yeah, it's just-
Yeah, it's not as bad when you're in LA, right? It's the same everywhere. I know. Long Islanders love to complain.
Worst.
Okay. Folding your pizza.
Forget about it.
Thank you.
What?
Thank you, Sharon.
What?
No, man. No.
Yeah, thank you.
You gotta fold it
Nope.
to eat it.
Not like half. I've seen people go wham, no. I want those tastes. I want that. No, no, I'm with her.
Yeah.
I'm with her.
Thanks, my girl.
Fine. All right.
No.
Snow days on Long Island.
Oh, the best.
Aw,
How you doing?
how you doing? I love it.
How you doing? We
Aw.
love that.
Well, we love you.
Yes, we
and
can't wait to
truly,
see you.
I can't even tell you what an honor it is to talk to you. And I want to thank you for all the incredible music that you've given us. And you're a true Long Island gem, part of the music and Hall of Fame here on Long
Yes.
Island, Entertainment Music Hall of Fame. We love ourselves some Taylor Dayne. We'll see you February 20th. Follow.
I can't wait. I'd love to meet you girls. That would be
Yay.
awesome.
And that would be awesome.
And all of our listeners, please do follow our Instagram because we're giving away two tickets, and you can also see Taylor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you, darling.